Hello. Today's video is gonna be my mid-year book review. Just about all the books that I've read so far. I am missing one book, I will say that, because my friend is currently borrowing it. Sorry, I'm so tired. I just did a 2-mile walk, so now I'm really tired, and I definitely need to eat, so I'll be making food after, it's fine. But, I'll be starting off with the first book I read this year. We have a total of 14 books read this year, and my goal is to read 36 books by December 31st. And today it is July 24th, so it's basically half year. I am 6 books behind, but that's because I work 3 jobs and I'm exhausted. And I'd rather get a good nap in than be very sleep deprived. So, and I read it at the beginning. When did I start? I started reading it on the plane when I was going to Arizona to work on a film. And this book is Practice Makes Perfect by Sarah Adams. Like I said, I don't have it with me, but I can at least show you what it looks like. Let's see if it wants to load. I have to go into my Goodreads and find the picture so that, from my reading challenge. This is the book, and I rated it, I'm also going to talk about my ratings and why. I rated it 5 stars. I am a huge romance, rom-com type of girl, so this book literally, it made me so happy. And I related to the character so much when it came to trying to find love and trying to figure out a sense of self. It's about Annie, who is from a small town in Rome, Kentucky. It's part of a series, but you can also read it alone. Me personally, I like reading the series. The first one is When in Rome, and it's about her brother's love interest, so it kind of follows those siblings. Annie is my favorite character by far. Her boy Will. Oh, what a man. What a man. I know he is literally words on paper, but he's amazing. So that's all I gotta say. But yeah, 5-star reads. If I could, it would be 100 stars, but can't do that, unfortunately. Next book is That's Not My Name by Megan Lally. I'm so sorry if I get your last name wrong, but Megan Lally. This was her debut novel, actually, and realistically it took me a few days to finish and to read. According to my Goodreads or my reading app, it'll say it took longer, but that is because, again, multiple jobs, so I didn't have a lot of time to get things done. I rated this one also a 5 stars. For me, when it comes to books, also the writing in this is really good. I'm not saying that it's not. Writing for me, it could be absolutely shit in a book. Again, not saying that it is in this one. I'm just giving an example. Could be absolutely shit, but for me, it always depends on how it makes me feel after I get done reading it. If it's memorable, I give it always a couple days. If it's memorable, or it made me have some sort of strong connection to it, whether it was out of sadness, out of hatred, out of happiness and hopefulness, that is how I rate it. And honestly, I'm only going to really read books that I know I'm going to love, which I have a lot on my shelf. My TBR list is insane, guys. But this one made me absolutely cry. Oh yeah, here's the one of me crying to That's Not My Name. I was like, I gotta take a couple days to recover. This one, I finished it, I think at 2 a.m. and I was just kind of hyperventilating from the plot, from the twist that's in this. And it's really good. I recommended it to other people, but of course everyone has different tastes when it comes to books. But for me, I also just really love thriller books. I wish I did a what I read last year like in 2023, but it's fine. I read a lot of Natasha Preston, which she has like mini thriller books, which I love. Next book I read was this infamous book, Powerless. I love this book. This one, obviously, 5 stars. It, according to my Goodreads, I said it was pure gold. It is Lauren Roberts' debut novel, and it is all about Peyton and Kai, and it kind of is a twist between Hunger Games and, what else would I say? I want to say Divergent, because there's different classes of people with powers. She's an ordinary, which means she doesn't have any powers, and basically the king is trying to like eradicate people that are ordinaries because they're sick and they spread disease, when it's like realistically they don't. He just doesn't want them there. Kai is the prince, and he obviously has powers, and he is the future enforcer, which means he's the one who has to go and kill ordinaries, I think. And if you haven't read this book already, for sure all of TikTok or Book Talk has, but if you haven't already, you already know. Kai and Peyton. They have a lot of tension, have a lot of banter. They honestly can never have like an actual serious card. They had a couple, but it was like lighthearted, and they had jokes happening the entire time. But their banter and tension is amazing. The ending had me crying, which, not okay. I've also never annotated a book before, and Lauren Roberts got me to annotate a book, which was crazy. I never expected that. But yeah. And then in June, we're going to skip a little bit. In June, I read her novella, Powerful, which deals with Peyton's best friend and what she was doing during the time that Peyton was in the trials. Oh yeah, that's the whole thing. She got chosen for the trials, where she had to compete, which makes it more like Hunger Games, where they had to go through these different obstacles, and they had different balls going on, where Adina then got to come to the castle and make dresses for her. It was amazing. But yeah, this is Adina's little book. Had me sobbing as well. It's so good. And this one was also, I did a 5-star because, again, it made me feel emotional, and I was, like, actually so scared to start this. Next book will have to be, if I can open my phone. Next book, I needed, after Powerless, I needed, like, a good, I'm, like, going through my books. I'm like, which one? I needed like a light romance. It was very much needed. I was so distraught from reading that book that I was just like, you know what, I need a good one. So I got The Cheat Sheet by Sarah Adams as well. This was one of her first, not first romance books, but it was definitely one of her first, it was her first sports romance book. And it's a little cheesy, just a little bit. It is a contemporary book, so it's like, obviously. I rated it 4 stars just because the ending did feel a little bit rushed, but I did like the friends to lovers aspect and kind of like the fake dating trope. Like, it was kind of cute. So it was just what I needed to get back into my reading. Yeah, 4 stars. I love Sarah Adams. I need to read her next one that came out that's part of this series, which is The Rule Book. I need to read that one. And they're quick, easy reads. This one took me a week to read. The other one I was talking about earlier in the video, Practice Makes Perfect, only took me 4 days. Because they're about 300 pages each, so they're quick and easy. We're going to get on to probably my most favorite series ever. And I will think about this practically until I die, because it was such a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful series. It is the Shatter Me series. Now, the reason why I don't have Shatter Me, what is it? It's Shatter Me, Unravel Me, and Ignite Me, is because I already read those. I read those last year around the same time, which was back in April and May of last year. So I read these ones this year, and I finally just, like, got through them. These ones only took me, I want to say, a few days each to read. Defy Me. Oh, wait, no. I gotta start with Restore Me. Sorry. Restore Me took 10 days. I was really into just, like, getting back into reading, and it felt amazing. And I definitely needed to pick up on the series, and I was like, why didn't I finish the series earlier? Like, sooner. But I really did love, like, this. Shatter Me is so good, and I seriously, it brought me back to, like, when I was 13 years old, when all those post-apocalyptic movies were coming out, like Divergent, like Hunger Games, and all the other ones kind of similar to that, where it had that type of genre where it's like these kids have powers and they're trying to overthrow the government. Aaron, Warner, and Juliet, their story is just so beautiful. The way that it is written and the way that I can't even describe it because I don't want to spoil it for anyone. The way that their story is written is so beautiful, and it's so complicated, and reading about how they're trying to, like, overcome these difficulties is so amazing. Stormy, I did rate 4 stars just because low-key kind of traumatizing. There was, like, a part in it, and I was like, so that's another thing. If you go on to my Instagram, which I have linked down below, I have a highlight that is just book reviews. It's book reviews and book stuff. Stormy was a 3.8 out of 5, but on Goodreads you have to do it 4. I said, I'm in a bit of shock due to how this ended and will be starting the next one today to stay on top of my reading streak. Could have been a 4, but didn't get really captivating until, like, halfway through. That's why. The plot didn't really thicken until, like, halfway through the book. Because Ignite Me ended with them finally taking over the government. Or so we thought, because, like, obviously there's 7 books. It's like, what more can happen? And the plot just didn't thicken until halfway through. And finally people were communicating with each other, and it was pissing me off, and I was just like, oh my god. It was so annoying. I was just like, guys, we need to talk to each other. Now next was Defy Me, which I absolutely loved. It was 5 out of 5. I loved the way that this one was written. This one only took me a few days as well to read. I think it only took me 4 days to get through. Defy Me was amazing. I finished it with a 5.5. Oh my god, a 5 out of 5 rating. It definitely does need, I'm going off of my Instagram because I need to, like, remember and refresh. Definitely needs a trigger warning for specific chapters because there's blood and torture in this. Like, I was sitting there and I was reading it and I was just like, ooh, ooh, ooh. The way that the author writes these books, it's like you can see exactly what is written. It's like, if you've got a crazy imagination, it's like you can see everything that's described in these books. She has the novellas, which goes in between, and this is, I believe this one was Kenji's point of view. Was it? Let me see. I think it was Kenji. I'm gonna have to double check. But next was Imagine Me, and this is the last book of this series. I finished this 5 out of 5. I loved how it was ended. It wrapped up everything so perfectly, and it didn't feel rushed. I love dystopian books. I love those storylines. So the fact that, again, could see everything that was going on, and I just love how much of a badass that Juliet is in this series, and how Aaron just, like, literally will let the world burn for her. He's like, I literally don't give a shit about anyone else except for you. Standard is Aaron Warner, guys. Like, this, we don't take anything else, okay? Super amazing. Loved this series. I recommend it to everyone. I got my friend Sam to read it. Or she started reading it, I think, after seeing my story. And she buzzed through the entire series in a month. I was just like, okay, girl. And then the Believe Me novella, 5 out of 5. It had me so happy. I wish there was more of this book. Like, this honestly could have been more of its own book with all the happiness going on. Like, I could have, if it was, like, this big, would have read it. I would have been like, that's it. That is perfect. That's all I needed. All I need is more novellas from her. I need to see them in the future. I need to see them. This is a happy ending type book, and I need more of it. So, and that was also a 5 out of 5 because that was beautiful. And it took me forever to read because I didn't want it to, like, end, if that makes sense. It's like, I didn't want it to end. After this, I read Powerful, which was, it was so good. I rated it 5 out of 5, but it made me upset. Yeah, so after Believe Me, I read this book. I didn't read Powerful. I read this book, which is King of Wrath. I've never read Anna Huang before, and my friend Bella, she's my book bestie from Aerie. We love her. Mwah, 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 if she's watching this. She told me to read this. She was like, girl, you have to read it, because we went on a Barnes & Noble trip. Said we weren't going to buy anything, and I got this. So, yeah. I read this. I absolutely loved this book. Made me fall in love with Dante. I want Dante Russo more than anything. And it was so good. So good. The spice, really good. People were not kidding about that. She was not kidding about that. And I'm trying to I got my manager, Nancy, I got her to start reading it too. I was like, girl, you're gonna love this. Rated it 5 stars, obviously. I instantly bought the next one, which I think is King of Pride, and the girl Vivian, it's her bestie, and like someone within his, not workplace, but in like the club scene, so it's them two together. So I need to read that one, because all of her books, she has so many books, and I also need to read those. They're all interconnected with each other, which I really love. It's like, that takes such a thought process that I could never do. So it was just, and it's so beautifully written, and you really just like I fell in love with the book. So 5 stars. That's all I can say about these books. I haven't found a book that I really haven't liked, basically. And this one took me 9 days to finish. Love the book. I can't wait to read the next one. Maybe that's my hope, is that I read King of Pride sometime this year. I don't even know. I'm in the process of reading a book right now, and it's really hard. Next book I read, the actual next book I read after Powerful, was Last Chance Books. I love this one. This one only took 3 days, and I started it on my plane ride to Oregon because I was going back home for my friend's graduation. It was like a 4.5 out of 5. I kind of just felt like the ending kind of was a little bit rushed. Basically, the story is she's trying to save her family bookstore, and across the street, this family, they also open up a chain bookstore, and her and the manager, they're having like this like flirty banter back and forth, and trying to figure each other out. He messes with her store, she messes with his store, and kind of just trying to screw each other over. She's also trying to deal with family drama. So it's like a lot's going on, and she's also in the midst of like graduating high school, so it's like this, I think it's the summer. Yeah, it's the summer before she leaves for college. Her family's just not really showing as much interest in saving the store. They're like, look, it's over. And she's like, no, like, we need to do something about this. So I really did love the book. I did like how it ended, because it's like, it was a happy ending, but at the same time, it was like a realistic happy ending where I'm not even going to spoil it, but it was a realistic happy ending. She obviously ends up with the guy, because look at the cover. Of course they do. I do plan on reading more of Kelsey Rodkey. She has a few other books, so I do plan on reading those. Again, took like 3 days. Super easy read. My most recent read, this one took me a while because, again, was busy, and I was on vacation, and I was hanging out with my family, so I didn't get much reading time. I got Beach Read, and this was a 5 out of 5. It'd be a 10 out of 10 if I could. It was so good. This is definitely my emotional attachment book, because, and I'll tell you why. I've never read Emily Henry before, and I'm so glad I started off with Beach Read, because a lot of people have said that Beach Read is the one to, like, start off with. I feel like I am this main character. Her backstory is, I don't want to say identical, I mean, it kind of is. Things that I've gone through and things that I've grown up with, and she's an only child, that I have, like, and I have a younger sibling, I have a younger sister. I'm surprised I didn't get as emotional about it. It's probably the therapy working. It was honestly a beautiful book. It was so well written, and I loved that we also got to know more about her male love interest, Augustus, but he goes by Gus, not Augustus. We got to find out more about him, and basically finding out what makes them different, but also what makes them similar, and seeing their growth. It was such a beautiful book, and I would reread this one anytime, honestly. It was such a beautiful, beautiful book, and I rated it 5 out of 5 stars. It took me 2 weeks to read. Again, super busy, but I really loved that book. Also, like, the way that it's, like, designed is just so cute. I just love books that just look so cute. And their banter is just enough where it's, like, it feels so real, of, like, how you would flirt with someone with sarcasm. So that's so far what I've read this year. Current read right now is Reckless, which is the second book in the trilogy for Powerless. It's taken me a while. I'm only this far into it, this little bit. I've been working nonstop every day, so hopefully I'll get some more in today. I should do what is on my TBR. Barnes & Noble also recently just had a pre-order deal. And I pre-ordered some books. But it's fine. They were needed. They needed homes. They needed to have homes, so I got a few books. I have a special edition of Beach Read also coming in October, and I'm so excited. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe. Love you guys. Have a good day. Enjoy the rest of your summer. My goal is to definitely read a couple more books by summer's end so that I can get into my thriller books when fall hits. So, anyways, thank you for following along. Love you guys. Bye. It's so funny. I took all these books off my bookshelf, so now it's like I have to put them back. Oh my god, what the heck? Somehow I got lipstick on my book. Anyways. Yeah, I need to see where, because if it's like that, if I'm like this, I'm gonna look so stupid. I'm missing a book. Hold on. Because I read that. There is definitely a book highlight missing. Did I not put it in? Okay, yeah. I am missing a book. Give me a second.